I'm still working on the title. But anyway, what I do is I go over certain things from the 80s, just for now. Eventually I will, I'll go premium and do other stuff. But in the meantime, what I did was, for this momentous occasion, I gave myself a mohawk like I did back in the day when I used to drum. Yeah, I used to be in a punk band. I had a punk band. Yeah, I had this Buddy Holly, Billy Idol thing going on back then when I used to play, but it worked. It worked. But anyway, let's get back to what we're doing. What are we doing today?
I see your video.
Okay, that's awesome. So we're making a video, right? Word. Are we making a video?
Yeah.
Word. Oh, you poor unicorn. Okay, but the video we're going to do today is my top 10 cartoons from the 80s. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to start with number 10.
10. This is how you do 10.
I don't know. That looks more like a 11 cents. There you go. 10. There you go. Now it's a 10. Yeah. 10.
This is 10.
Somehow the kids disappear. But that's great, because now it's all about you, me, and you, Poppy, and you, us. Anyway, number 10, the Muppet Babies. Of course I'm going to put the Muppet Babies in there. Why wouldn't I put the Muppet Babies in there? Muppet Babies were, I was young when they first came out. Every episode was a different adventure, which was really cool because it wasn't boring, it wasn't kind of... Every episode was an adventure. Every episode, it was great. I liked it. It wasn't the best. Every episode was an adventure. I loved it. It was great. I mean, think about that. Marker. Every episode was a different adventure. It was on every Saturday morning. I used to watch it every Saturday morning. What do you want me to say? Baby Kermit, Baby Miss Piggy, Baby Fozzie, Baby Ralph, Baby Gonzo, Scooter, Skeeter. Who am I missing? Animal! How can I forget about Animal? Animal played the drums! Thank you. But, what do you want me to say? I liked it. Nanny was pretty cool. If people remember Nanny, you're not going to remember her face. You're pretty much only going to remember the bottom half of her body, because it pretty much showed her stomach down, and she always wore the same leggings. Laundry must have been very easy in that house. Number 9. HeMan. HeMan and the Masters of the Universe. What can I say? That I did like it when I was growing up. Film Nation, another Film Nation type of show. Film Nation did a lot of cartoons in the 80s, believe me, they did. It was cool, I love the toys. I'm not going to lie to you. Listen to me, I'm not going to lie to you. I love the toys more than I love the cartoon, okay? As I got older and I watched it as an adult, I thought the cartoons were trashy. But, heck, they had a place in my heart because I love the toy line. I watched it all the time. I was introduced to characters like Prince Adam, which was kind of a hard toy to buy at one point. Prince Adam, you had Cringer, who became Battle Cat. Prince Adam, of course, became HeMan. And then you had Man-at-Arms, who was Duncan, his daughter Tila. You had Orko. You had Ram Man. Ram Man, Ram Man. I don't know. Guy who would jump all over the place and hit you with his head. That's a very unique power to have there. And then there was Stratos, who was kind of like a humanoid ape with wings, and well, he didn't have like wings like a bat or a bird, but he flew. But there were a lot of characters that came out afterwards. I'm not gonna waste your time because it would be wasting your time going over them. But here we're gonna bring up like all the main villains. Remember the villains? You like Skeletor, like HeMan, and then you had and you had Evil Lynn and so, and every single one of those characters were on steroids. Every single one of them were on steroids, which was a big thing in the 80s. The cartoon worked well. God bless you. Number 8. Heathcliff, Heathcliff, no one should. Hey, listen. I'm a cat lover. There are people out there that do not like cats. In fact, there are a couple people I know that really don't like cats, which is a shame. But hey, cats are cool. Cats got personality. And Heathcliff is the persona of a cat and his personality. Heathcliff had attitude, he had spunk, he was strong, he had conviction, he ran the streets. He was the OG of the 80s, the original OG, which is me saying original gangster, which doesn't make sense. But anyway. Number 7. Mobile Armored Strike Command. Mask! Mask was a cool show. I did like Mask. Mask, of course, stood for Mobile Armor Strike Command with a K. And, of course, their headquarters was a gas station, which was quite convenient. Yeah, quite convenient. Anyway, the leader of Mask was Matt Stryker. Matt Stryker, of course, he had his son. He was a single dad. I don't remember what happened to his wife. I think his wife got killed. It's actually quite sad. I can't remember, but I think she got killed by Miles Mayhem, who was the commander of Venom. Which, at this moment in time, I really don't know what Venom stands for. I just know the M stands for Mayhem. Sorry. But if you remember Mask, of course, that was Mobile Armor Strike Command. Everybody in there wore a mask. And each mask had a special, unique, I can't say power, but, they're not superheroes and, they're far from mutants. But the mask itself had a different type of weapon. Either, some of them shot water, some shot fire, I don't know. It's whatever. And, yeah, it was Mask. What can I tell you? Mask. Number 6! DuckTales.
Might solve a mystery or rewrite history. DuckTales. Every day that I've been making DuckTales.
Who out there hates DuckTales? Seriously. DuckTales was a really cool cartoon. Of course, I don't know, what do you want me to say? It's Scrooge McDuck, Uncle Scrooge. Everybody knows him as Uncle Scrooge. I know him as Scrooge McDuck from Mickey's Christmas Carol. Yeah. But anyway, he was definitely Donald's uncle. He was the great uncle of Huey, Dewey, Louie, and as you know, Scrooge McDuck, he pretty much was watching the three nephews of Donald. But, there were characters that were brought in there that I liked. Everybody loved Launchpad McQuack, who couldn't fly a ship or a plane to save his life. There was Gizmo Duck. And if I'm mistaken, I think Darkwing Duck did come from DuckTales as well. I think it did. I know it had its own cartoon, so, whatever. If it is the case, then heck, then DuckTales is kind of like Happy Days, spin-offs. Number 5. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo. 4 turtles who were named after famous Renaissance men, and they had the cartoon itself, he was actually a human who became a rat. In the comics, Splinter actually became Well, he didn't become human, but he became kind of like a humanoid. But, whatever. But, everybody loved Master Splinter. Everybody loved... Hey, I don't know about you. I love Donatello and I loved Raphael the most. I really did. Those two were my favorite turtles. I don't know about you. A lot of people love Michelangelo because he had that young party-like attitude. I thought Donatello was cool for his inventions, being the scientist, being the smartest of the bunch. But Raphael, he came with attitude. And to make it out there, you need attitude. I need more attitude. Number 4. Voltron! Voltron was a cool cartoon. Voltron was an anime cartoon. It was great. You had the 5, whatever they were, the 5 commandos from that fleet that landed on that planet, and it was Keith, it was Lance, it was Pidge, it was Hunk, and it was Sven. If I'm not mistaken, I think Sven is the one that got hurt and was replaced by Princess Allura. Voltron was cool, but a lot of people only remember the lion version of Voltron. I mean, there were multiple versions of Voltron, but the two that stick out the most here is, of course, the lion, which was the most famous one, and the Cars. The Cars was cool. Cars were on, I think, only on Sundays. When I used to watch it, it was WPIX, Channel 11. Now I think it's like WB or CW or whatever it is, time. Number 3. G.I. Joe! Come on, it's G.I. Joe, real American hero, going against a bunch of real American villains. Yeah. Anyway, G.I. Joe was, it was a cool cartoon. First season had like 64, 69 episodes. I don't know how many episodes it had, but it had a ton of episodes the first season. And of course it led into G.I. Joe the movie. G.I. Joe the movie was pretty cool at the time and introduced characters. I like Tunnel Rat. Tunnel Rat was one of the coolest characters, the newer characters from G.I. Joe the movie. And I remember being a kid, and I was always thinking that a person who would be a really good Tunnel Rat would have been John Leguizamo. I thought John Leguizamo would have been the perfect Tunnel Rat if they did come out with a movie in the 90s instead of the ones that came out in the 2000s that were garbage. They were garbage. They stunk. Don't waste your time. They stunk. I'm still crying. Number 2. Now here, number 2. If you did watch I guess we'll call it the pilot, the first one that I did about Transformers. Yes, number 2 is Transformers. You would think it would be number 1. No, number 2. And I'll explain why. Transformers will always be near and dear to my heart. And I used to play and collect the toys back then when the toys were actually die-cast and they only had like 4 or 5 points of articulation. They really didn't move very well. Nowadays, the toys are made out of plastic. They fall off really easy. You have to have like an IQ of 150 to really transform these new Transformers. Back then, it was very simple. Life was simple back then. It's a lot more complicated right now. I feel bad. Number 1. Thunder! Thundercats! I like Thundercats. Thundercats is a really cool cartoon as well. It was a really, 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 really cool cartoon. You know why it was such a cool cartoon? I ran home after school to go home and watch it. I hated running. So if I ran home for something, that means there had to be some importance behind it. And Thundercats had major importance. I loved it. Thought it was a cool show. I wasn't a big fan of the 80s storyline, not as much as the Cartoon Network storyline. I thought the Cartoon Network storyline was a heck of a lot better. If anybody out there could find it, I recommend watching it. It was only on for 1 season. Every episode was great. Every episode had a continuation. It was nothing like the 80s version. The animation was definitely a lot different. It would have been cooler if they used the anime from the 80s with the story from the 2000s. Then it would have been the most complete, whole, perfect cartoon ever. Ever! But they didn't. Now I hear they're coming out with a new cartoon called Thundercats Roar, and I did see it, and it's awful. The animation that they're doing behind it, if it's real, I don't know if it's a prank or not, I think it's real, and I think it's going to be garbage. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not even going to introduce it to my children. They, just like me, will be scarred for life. What can I say? Well, I guess that's it right now for my top 10 80s. My opinion. My opinion. Yeah, I love this mohawk, man. You know what? Let me tell you something about the 80s. This is the reason why I come back to the 80s from time to time. The 80s was the only decade where you actually had a movie. You had a movie called Hot Dog the Movie and a movie called Hamburger the Movie. I mean, what other decade could you get away with that? The 80s! Everything became synthesized. Everybody wore makeup. Everybody wore makeup. I didn't wear makeup though. Not everybody. I didn't wear makeup. But heck, you know, it introduced us to some different types of music. We had MTV. Listen, the 80s were great. I'm going to capture some moments from the 80s. I'm going to go back to the 80s from time to time. I am a product of the 80s, even though I was born in 1976. Hence, I turned 4 in 1980. So I became 5 in 1981, which means I started kindergarten when the 80s started. So, I hope you all enjoyed this. Word up. I will see you soon, and if anybody remembers the 1989, right? 89 Game Boy? Yeah, the one that weighed like 22 pounds. That's right. So word up to everybody. Keep it real. We love the 80s. Word up.
Thank you for watching Poppy's Point of View Review. If you enjoyed this episode of Poppy's Point of View Review, please like and subscribe. And if you want to see more videos of Poppy's Point of View Review, click on the playlist that you could see